All right, gang, here is a behind the scenes look of the Yellow Peril Book Kicker. The project's been funded, so this is kind of what you're going to get to see once your project is complete. And I'm going to show you some of the other tools that I used during the campaign to just give you an idea of tools that can help you keep track of where funders are coming from and who's talking about your project and all that kind of stuff. This is basically what you see when you log into your dashboard, your project activity. It gives you a quick snapshot of what's going on. This is the amount of money pledged, the percentage funded, the number of backers, and this tells you how many days, hours, seconds to go to finish the thing. So as we scroll down, we'll get this neat little chart here. And as we mouse over on these, this will tell you how many, what your progress is. It's not going to tell you how many people contributed that day. You'll have to do some math, but it gives you the totals. This green bar here is your initial funding goal. So mine was 2,000, and you can see in the first day I made a little over my funding goal in the first day and got 52 backers. So that's kind of crazy. I wasn't expecting that. I ran a previous Kickstarter, and I'll give you a look at that. You can see all the other ones I've been backing. But Puppy Cow, and this was a long time ago, a while ago, before this fancy dashboard was developed. So as you can see, my goal for that one was 4,000, and the first day I didn't raise any money, so it was kind of worrisome. But this is what that graph looked like. So let's go back to the Book Kicker. Book Kicker dashboard. Okay. So yeah, this is pretty fun. You get to watch it go or progress or dip down in some instances. And this updates in real time. So I think you have to refresh it, but the numbers will show you every hour on the hour whenever you refresh it. So like if somebody donates and you refresh it, you'll see this bar go up. So this is a cool visual way to see where you're going. And I really love Kickstarter as a platform. They've added a lot of great tracking tools for you to see where the money's coming from and who's doing what and stuff. Next we have our referrers. These are this tracks where people have found your project. The green slice is via Kickstarter, so that's the Kickstarter community. Anybody who's logging into Kickstarter, clicking around Kickstarter, looking for things on Kickstarter itself. So these are most likely people you don't know, people that are not in your network, people not connected with anything that you do already. These are just fans of Kickstarter, and there's a huge Kickstarter fan base. But as you can see, if I was reliant mostly on the Kickstarter audience, this project would not have fared very well at all. I think if I was trying to kickstart something like a coffee filter or some kind of techie gadget, these numbers would be a lot more skewed. I think it might be a little bit more even. There might be more Kickstarter people than outside people. But from this, you can tell that most of my pledges came in from people in my network, or people who read my comic, or Twitter followers, or Facebook fans, people that I've made a connection with in some way, shape, or form, either a reader or one of those things. And as you can see, that's where a majority of the funding came from, 79%. So it's kind of a good way to track the viability of your stuff. It's kind of I don't know if it's a good or accurate measure, but it kind of gives you a number, a financial number to put on your audience. Like, this is what my audience is willing to pay for. This is what my audience is willing to buy into me for. So it's kind of a financial measure of the strength of your audience, the buying habits of your audience, how invested they are in your financial success. So yeah, Oh, another thing I want to point out, the 182 backers, that's not a whole lot of people. If you think about it, it's not a whole lot of people. Like, my audience size, hits wise on my site, I get maybe like 5,000 hits on an update day, average, and 182 around 182 people supported this Kickstarter and I raised this much. So that's pretty encouraging. Like, you don't necessarily need a huge following. You need followers who are invested enough in what you're doing to go out and support you. So the nice thing about this this dashboard is, if you drill down further, it breaks it down by where the people found your project, the number of pledges from that site, the percentage of the total project that they were raised, and the dollars pledged. So anything in green is from Kickstarter itself. Now, my project was fortunate enough to be picked as a staff pick and a favorites in the comic section. But as you can see, that only brought in 7 pledges for $141. So at least for me and the comic side, getting a staff pick, it's a nice warm fuzzy feeling, but it didn't really generate a lot of views or interest in the project. I'm not sure why that is. I think maybe if I was a bigger brand name like a Penny Arcade or Johnny Wander or something like that, I think this staff pick number might go up a little bit. But who's to say? I don't know. This is my first comic Kickstarter, so I don't really have anything to compare it to. This is really encouraging. I got 39 pledges from my comic site and raised a decent amount of money, so that's pretty cool. The embedded widget, this is anytime you take the widget and place it on your website or anyone's site, that's the number of traffic from there. Facebook did pretty good. Twitter did pretty well. So, I think I'll continue to use those to promote my stuff. So you can drill down as far as you want to go. This goes down to any site that got a backer will be listed here. I got 3 from Comic Book Resources, which was really cool. So in the first week, I kind of did some loose promotion just on Facebook and Twitter. The second week of the project, I reached out to a number of comic journalists, and I did a podcast interview with the Comic Geek Speak people. Bridget Alverson of Comic Book Resources covered the project and did an interview with me. And so that kind of kept the funding going at a steady rate. Towards the middle campaign, it kind of dies off, as you can tell from here. And then right at the end, there was a huge boost. So 24 hours before your campaign ends, Kickstarter sends out an email to all your backers that just says, there's 24 hours left to go. So, it gets people excited about stuff. Let's see. I got a link in the Wall Street Journal. A friend of mine is a writer there, and the book kicker was mentioned in an article about Jonathan Colton, which is really cool because he's funded his work independently. So that was awesome. Let's see. I'm not sure what the old reader is. I'll have to take a look at that. Feedly, I guess Feedly is taking over for Google RSS feeds and stuff. But yeah, so this is very helpful information. It can give you an indication of what's working for you in terms of advertising or interactions and things like that, and possibly where your money could possibly come from in the future. So this is a very good list of things to take care of. All right, we get to this segment here. You don't have to have a video when you launch a Kickstarter. They highly recommend it because I think they've done studies that show that Kickstarters with videos are more likely to meet their funding goals. and videos that are a minute or under a minute are probably the perfect amount of time to get most people's attention. Even so, my video was a minute long or under 2 minutes or something. Only 34% of the people watching it actually finished watching the stupid video. So I guess that means people just logged in and took a look and said, never mind. The interesting thing here is that there were more video plays on Kickstarter than on the website, on my website, because I embedded the widget on my website. I'm not sure if anyone else did, but I know I did. So most of the views of the video were actually on the Kickstarter site itself. So that's pretty cool. Now we go down to reward popularity, and this is kind of a nice visual chart to see where the number of backers who have claimed what reward. So the $10 reward was for a digital copy of both book 1 and book 2, and from this you can see a majority of the backers went for that one, but it only accounted for 6% of the total money raised. So the next biggest reward tier was the $40 reward, which was both physical books, and that raised a decent amount of money. So there's kind of a bell curve. I mean, I guess these two are anomalies. The $20 one was an early adopter award, so I only put 30 of those slots up. So for the book retails for 20, and I added another 5 for shipping to take care of shipping. So regularly you would have to pay $25 to get the book. But for those who pledged early, you could get the book and I would cover the shipping. So that having an early adopter limited reward turned out pretty well. Those went very quickly, and it kind of gives you a good jump start on your campaign. So if you're doing a book, maybe you can set up like the first 30, you'll cover the shipping and set that for what you're retailing the book for, and then the regular level without any limits can be the book plus whatever shipping costs are. So when I set up my reward tiers, I made sure to put in at least $5 for shipping. So the $35 reward is the book price plus 10 for the sketch plus 5 for shipping. So that's how I came up with my pricing scheme. And then the higher end rewards, you can see very fewer people pledged because I had fewer of them available, but they accounted for a good portion of the money raised. So this is another good way to another visual way of seeing how you're doing, who's backing what. Sometimes you can add reward tiers during a campaign. So if you see things trending a certain way, you could put in some rewards in between just to see how that goes. And then scrolling down here, there's a activity list of backers, and I'm not going to show you that segment because I don't want to expose people's names. But you can see who pledged what, if they've made any adjustments. Like some people adjusted for a higher reward during the campaign because they saw stuff and they were like, man, this is cool, I'm gonna put some more money in. Some people dropped out, so it'll track who's doing what. And then any comments that are made on your Kickstarter in any of your updates, this will keep track of that. So this is a very helpful area. So yeah, there's a lot of powerful information in the basic Kickstarter dashboard that they give you. Another thing that I used was a extension for Chrome, and I'll show you that here. And let's see, this is called where are my extensions? Where are you? Extensions. This is called the Kickstarter status board, which you can find in the extensions marketplace, I guess. So this is the Kickstarter status board. Right here on the left, it gives you a rundown of how much money is being pledged, how much the percentage, the number of backers, the amount of time you have left, and the video plays, which is really cool. These are stats pulled directly from Kickstarter. And then down here, it has the funding sources, so you can scroll down and see exactly where the money is coming from. I mean, it's information that's pulled from your dashboard, so you have to log in to get these stats, and it's pretty cool to see all of that. Here, when you send out your short link, this tracks how many people have clicked on the link to your Kickstarter. So this is the short link that Kickstarter gives you to share your project. So anytime you blog about it, anytime anyone else blogs about it, if somebody clicks on that joint, it tracks it here. So you get to see how well you're doing with your advertising or your promotions and stuff like that. And these are the domains that were the top referrers. That feels good. The comic is the top referrer and stuff. This is direct traffic. I think this is a Twitter shortener or something like that. But you can just get a good feel for how well you're doing. This one is very helpful. Anytime your Kickstarter is mentioned on Twitter, this tracks who is saying what. So this is cool. If you see somebody tweeting about your project, you can click on it and tweet at them and say, hey, thank you for supporting my stuff. This number here, 54, 33, 44, that is their clout score. So you can see who is more influential in your network, or who are the influential people tweeting about your stuff. So this is pretty cool for interaction to talk to people, because that's one of the best ways to generate excitement for Kickstarter, is just to talk to people and engage when people are talking about your stuff. So this is a really helpful widget here. This tells you how many people are talking about your project on Facebook, any links that you've shared, all that kind of stuff. So that's just helpful information to see how things are tracking. And this is just a general Twitter search thing. So yeah, the extension is pretty cool. It's great for tracking your project and keeping up with the social aspect with the Twitter widget, because sometimes people will tweet about your project but not know who you are, so they won't know that you're on Twitter. So this is good to see just whoever is out there talking about your stuff. And then the third site that I consulted is kind of, I don't know how useful it is, but it's really fun watching the numbers shift as the project goes. So this is Kicktrack, Kicktraq.com. And when I launched the project, the Kicktrack prediction was completely bonkers. And I swear to God, if I made the money that they had predicted in the first day, I would have shit my pants. But anyway, so funding is successful. This kind of gives you an estimate of what to expect during your campaign. And so this is just, when you log into Kicktrack, this is what you get, similar to the chart here. It's just a different layout. And what they also do is they pull in any updates from your Kickstarter. So anytime you post an update to your backers, that'll show up here, and it provides a link. So you can click on that and link over, and it'll take you to the link. Like I will, you can click here and it'll take you to the update. So there you go. There's Kane as Peril Jared. All right. Anyway, another helpful thing that Kicktrack provides is daily data. So it tracks how much money was donated per day, which is really cool. So you don't have to do the math. Like if you go with the Kickstarter dashboard, you have to do the math here. Like